Hello and good morning. We got some lights to turn on back here. Let me see. Completely forgot that we were lightless heading into this. Let's go ahead and get these bad boys going. Great day. We dog walked the market yesterday, pretty much market months. So you want to be grateful, right? And exhibit gratitude for each and every, great play, each and every bit of profit, each and every, bit of execution. It's important to recognize that this market shifts gears. So we have to shift gears with it. You can't be only aiming for home runs, right? You got to take some base hits, and those base hits really add up. And we had a number of them yesterday between NVIDIA, SPY, QQQ, Amazon, right? A number of different plays that came through for really good solid profits to help build that account higher. So grateful for yesterday. I want to make sure that I express that gratitude so that we can make it a very important and inherent part of our day. I'm excited for, the opportunity that lies ahead today as well. If the market gives us anything good, we'll be sure to act and execute, because every day here we're looking to get 1% better. We are looking to give ourselves the space to chase purpose, right? And that's the important thing in life. It's not money. Money at the end of the day won't give you any more fulfillment. I know a lot of wealthy people. I've grown up around a lot of wealthy people. I've seen, seen a lot of it, and it doesn't necessarily equate to happiness. Unfortunately, some of the most unhealthy and unhappy people that I know are very wealthy people. So it's all about purpose, and that's really what we're doing here. It's a tool. It's a mean towards an end, right? We are chasing purpose. We are chasing a higher calling. We're chasing fulfillment, right? Not just chasing, money, but money gives you the means to seek that fulfillment, to get done what you really want to get done. So that's why, purpose chasers, that's what we are. That's what we're trying to do. Not money chasers, right? Not profit chasers, purpose chasers, because money at the end of the day will not bring you happiness or fulfillment. Throw a 3 in the chat if that rings true for you, right? You want to make money in order to give you the freedom and the leverage to do what you like to do, right? Which actually brings you fulfillment, to do what you would do if you didn't get paid for it, because you don't have to get paid for it, right? That is what you're looking to do. And this is just a tool that gives you that freedom, gives you that extension. So good morning, everybody. Andrea, Vivian, Detrice, Vanessa, my man Tage, everybody, good morning. Hope you're having a great morning. I got up, got my miles in, and I'm ready to attack the day. So got outside, sniffed that allergen-filled air. Still congested, still recovering, but honestly doing like a lot better, which is great. Still a bit low energy, but that's kind of been the past week and a half. So just working through it, right? Taking the caffeine when I need the caffeine, but trying to make sure that I stay active, sweat it out, even though like physiologically that's a myth. Sweat it out, right? And just get back to being 100%. But in terms of our top news here, shut your engines. So we're going to dive into what we have going on today. Please make sure that you're dropping your ones in the chat. We're trying to get 1% better here. So set your intention to do that every day. I wake up, I pray, I say my confessions, right? I set my intentions for the day, for the week, for the month. You want to do that here as well for this session, for the pre-market prep, as well as for our market session. So the auto sector is on watch as negotiations between the UAW union and Detroit car makers Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis head down to the wire. Things have gone back and forth over the last several weeks, but they aren't looking good ahead of today's strike deadline at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Contributing to the tensions has been the industry's shift toward EVs, which has created new manufacturing dynamics, such as less of a need for engine and transmission plants, as well as new battery factories that are largely not unionized. So there's a lot of different things that are taking place in terms of like changes that are happening in a lot of different industries. And we're talking about like ground up foundational changes, right? When we talk about AI being integrated into the film industry and how that strike is still going on, right? With media, when we talk about this shift from, normal combustion engines, right? ICE vehicles, internal combustion engines, to electric vehicles, there are a lot of very important foundational changes that are taking place. And a lot of the people that were governed by certain, protective agencies like unions are trying to make sure that that gets transferred over. Because whenever there are big shifts, there are a lot of things that fall through the cracks. So a lot of these unions and entities that stick up for the rights of workers are trying to make sure that they don't get cut out of this new future because there are a lot of things that are shifting, right? And good on them, because you have to make sure that you are advocating for yourself, because if you don't, no one will, right? Because it does not help any of their bottom lines to have to respect the rights of workers when we talk about these corporate entities. So tickers that can be affected by these auto strikes and negotiations are Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis. So F, GM, STLA. They're important to keep an eye on, as well as, a number of these other vehicle producers, but mainly Detroit car makers. Now, in terms of defining moment, to win, we're likely going to have to take action, UAW President Shawn Fain declared. Just as we have approached our negotiations differently than we have in the past, we're preparing to strike these companies in a way that they've never seen before. While the rhetoric remains changed, a targeted walkout is likely to hit specific U.S. factories before an all-out strike envelops one or more companies, especially if it helps the UAW avoid distributing strike pay to its 146,000 members. So, at issue are the terms surrounding new 4-year labor contracts for big three auto workers. Demand range from higher wages, more time paid off, reduced work weeks, a return to traditional pensions, the elimination of wage classification tiers, and a shift back towards cost of living adjustments. However, the two sides have grown increasingly skeptical of each other, trading accusations of no genuine offers, negotiations in bad faith, and not showing up to the bargaining table. So it doesn't look like, sentiment is that positive heading into this deadline here at noon today. Ripple effects: a 10-day strike could cost the U.S. economy $5.6 billion in gross domestic product, according to the Anderson Economic Group, and push the Michigan economy into a recession. The firm added that lost worker pay could be equal to $859 million, and lost automaker earnings could be $989 million, while continuing to deplete dealership stock levels and impacting prices. A disruption could also deal a sizable economic blow to the broader auto network, like part suppliers, including Lear Corp and Magna International. So Lear Corp, their ticker is LEA, and then Magna International, their ticker is MGA. So this is something that's important to keep an eye on when we talk about Ford, right? GM, all of those different tickers, right? These, especially Detroit-based, companies. Ford at this point, has a potential bear flag here on the hourly. I think if we lose pre-market low on Ford, we can hold beneath that on the hourly. I'm talking 12.61. We can lose that on the hourly on Ford. I like Ford to the downside, right? For puts, either expiring tomorrow or some expiring next week. So at 12.61, throwing a little alert, right? F testing hourly bear flag breakout. And this is something that can go on, right, for a number of days. So I like the idea of shorting Ford, shorting GM in order to take advantage of this opportunity. If that pans out, I'm not saying, okay, at open, I'm going to go ahead and buy a ton of puts on Ford. I'm saying if by noon, right, or heading into noon or before then, we start to, fire this pattern that indicates that the sellers are more in control than the buyers, I'm going to take advantage of that for sure. Now, in terms of economic news, and everybody throw a 7 in the chat if that makes sense. We got that going on, for my people that are part of the community. Make sure that you've got these, levels mapped out when we talk about them, right? Set these alerts, have Thinkorswim up in the background. That way you're not scrambling and saying, oh man, what plays are there available today? Because we go over plays during pre-market prep. Inside of the group, right, the call outs group, we got plays in there. We got Loom videos in there. So once the opportunity is made known, it's important for you to leverage that opportunity, right? If I say, hey, they're giving out free A5 Wagyu down the street on this street, and you miss it, it's not my job to pick you up and drive you there, right? You still got to get up and do something with that opportunity. So make sure that you're leveraging and executing, because information alone never changed anyone's life. Execution did. So make sure that you're executing each and every day. Now, in terms of economic news here, CPI recap: retail inflation heated up again in August, with the consumer price index rising 0.6% month over month and 3.7% year over year, fueled by higher gasoline and housing prices. Stock markets still largely cheered the data, though concerns over inflationary pressures remain. The Fed's rate hike cycle most assuredly ended in July, noted investing group leader Lawrence Fuller, as core figures signal that inflation is continuing to moderate. ING economists, however, expect the Fed to keep one further hike in their dot plot forecast until the end of 2023. Now, Yeah, I mean, CPI data, we went over that yesterday, was worse than expected in terms of core CPI. In terms of like the market and how the market reacted to it, it wasn't like there was any like overwhelming, reaction in terms of sentiment to what went on. We played puts in the morning. Those puts paid very nicely on SPY. Amazon puts as well. Then we go and I actually took a call, so wasn't able to call this out, but we called that bounce area on SPY right near that pre-market low. So if you took calls there, that paid very nicely as well. And then from there, right, we played Nvidia to the upside. Some short-term price targets on Nvidia got hit, and then we spotted the rising wedge on QQQ. We played that to the downside. So we had a number of different plays that allowed us to bank yesterday, despite the fact that it was this all day. I mean, literally just down, up, chop, 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 down, right? So it was a lot of chop, not any movement with conviction. The past week, I mean, we really have not moved at all, like the past week to 2 weeks. So that's very important to note. Again, unless we get some break of the high or low of the week, we'll stay within the range of that week, and that's what we've been doing thus far. We also got PPI data this morning, I believe. So let's check that out. Let me see here, and I can double check because I'm not seeing that here, but we should have got. Oh, I know we got jobless claims at least. So it's like jobless claims. The actual data was 220K versus 216 previous. We expected 225K. So we got initial jobless claims being better than expected. Continuing jobless claims actual also slightly better than expected. Not seeing anything here on the PPI data, which I think we should have gotten. Yes, we should have gotten core PPI data here. So I don't know. Maybe that'll come on a little bit later. We got Christine Lagarde speaking here. Economy likely to remain subdued in coming months. Economy also weak in Q3. This is for Europe, right? When we talk about Christine Lagarde, we're talking over in Europe and kind of what they see coming about in terms of I forget what the heck, the European Union. I kept wanting to call them NATO, but the European Union in terms of like what Europe expects. Okay, PPI do 830. Yeah, it should be commerce, August retail sales. Yeah, I'm not seeing it here, but the initial reaction, it looks like from the market, is one that is positive. Looks like at 8:30, right? If we look back to what happened at around 8:30, looks like initially we saw some selling, and then now we're pushing back up. So yeah, the market pushing higher overnight. Haven't been a big fan really of overnight swings, mainly just taking advantage of what the market has to offer the next day. And that's ended up serving us well here over the course of the past few sessions. In terms of IPOs, we've been having a lot of ARM talk, right? A lot of talk about ARM, the semiconductor company that's going to be IPOing soon. So the right arm, British chip designer ARM Holdings, ticker ARM, has priced its initial public offering of 95.5 million shares at $51 a piece at the upper end of the expected range of $47 to $51. This gives ARM, majority owned by SoftBank, a valuation of more than $54 billion. The IPO was oversubscribed by 10 times with major companies such as Intel, INTC, NVIDIA, NVDA, and Apple, ticker AAPL, eyeing $735 million of the float. Seeking Alpha analyst David Krasia believes the IPO price is very generous, saying long-run investors are better off waiting for lower prices, while Kavanaugh Research said ARM's leadership in the CPU industry and its AI involvement will make it an attractive investment opportunity. Also see what WSB subscribers think about investing in IPOs before ARM begins trading today. So ARM is going to start trading today. They're a British chip designer. NVIDIA tried to acquire them, and regulatory agencies shut that down. They said no, it'll lead to a monopoly, anti-competition, et cetera, et cetera. And right now, they've got a lot of companies that are still trying to invest. They're majority owned by SoftBank, Masayoshi Son, right? Completely flipping, kind of the venture capital sector on its head in the US with how much money they brought in to the sector a few years ago. And they've kind of been struggling in terms of getting a return on that. But ARM might be the thing that does it for them. How I feel about IPOs is you can always get them at a better price if you wait. Every single one, even the one backed by Warren Buffett, right? Snowflake. If you waited, you got that at a good price, at a better price than the IPO. So can it run up crazy from the IPO? Yes. Do I ultimately think it comes down over the course of the next few weeks, months? Yes. Right. So that's how I feel about ARM, even despite the fact that AI involvement will make it a super attractive investment opportunity. Because right now we're in the midst of the AI bubble. Anything attached to AI is going crazy. But I don't think that ARM is worth buying here upon it going public. And if you do, just be ready to average down, right? In terms of trending news, casino hackers, Caesars Entertainment, ticker CZR, is expected to disclose in a regulatory filing that it paid tens of millions of dollars to hackers who infiltrated the company's systems in recent weeks and demanded a ransom. Wow. The group known as Scatter Spider or UNC 3944 is experienced at social engineering tricks to gain access to corporate networks. A different hacking group is also believed to be responsible for the hacking incident that disrupted systems at MGM Resorts this week, impacting everything from the casino floor to online bookings. Reports indicate the hackers impersonated an employee and gained access to MGM systems after a short phone call to its IT help desk. Wow, that is crazy. I mean, that's like some Ocean's 11, like grand movie heist type of storyline. And it looks like, Caesar got stabbed, got stabbed in the back in history, and he got stabbed in the back here again as people, really, really schemed in order to hack Caesar and ultimately get paid out tens of millions of dollars. So I think that is absolutely insane. But I wouldn't go gambling at Caesars anytime soon because I'm sure they're going to fix those machines, and make them extra dirty, give you extra low odds because they've got a few tens of millions of dollars they need to make back because of these hackers. So in terms of, the stock ticker CZR, I doubt this is positive for them. Let's see if we had any manifestation in terms of price action. Nothing yet, so we might see that at open, right? But overall, I just more so stay out of Caesars casinos because I think they'll juice those machines up real nice after what happened to them. In terms of today's markets in Asia, Japan, we're up 1.4%. We're pretty much green across the board. Hong Kong up 0.2, China up 0.1, India up 0.1%. The FTSE in London up 1.2%, Paris up 0.4%, Frankfurt up 0.3, the Dow up 0.3%, S&P up 0.4, Nasdaq up 0.4, crude oil up 1.3%, gold down 0.1%, and then Bitcoin up 0.8% to 26,338. In terms of today's economic calendar, we have initial jobless claims at 8:30 a.m. We got producer price index data at 8:30, retail sales at 8:30. We also get business inventories data at 10 a.m. So that might be something that impacts markets, while we're open. Not hugely, but, we could see some impact on like the 1 minute to 5 minutes, some pops and whatnot, as well as like holding in front of key levels before you get the continuation of the move, right? So maybe we go up to a key level or resistance level and then we hold, and then the data comes out and then we peak above and then we fail, we drop. So that's kind of what I look for with 10 a.m. data. What else is happening? France orders Apple to stop iPhone 12 sales over high radiation. Wow. Citigroup, I'm looking at my iPhone like, do I have the iPhone 12? Citigroup realigns corporate structure to reduce management layers. Netflix drops as ad tier not seen driving revenue in short term. Senate AI Summit gathers tech leaders for closed door policy talks. Curaleaf chairman sees DEA agreeing to reschedule marijuana. Google lays off hundreds from recruiting team. Visa starts shareholder talks on exchange offer for Class B shares. Goldman Sachs fires transaction banking execs over compliance lapses. And then Starbucks visionary Howard Schultz steps down from board. And FTX gets green light to sell its cryptocurrency holdings worth $3.4 billion. So that was actually a pretty packed rapid fire rundown there that close us out. I mean, Howard Schultz fully stepping down from Starbucks. We don't know. He might be back. Him and Bob Iger can never truly retire. Netflix drops as the ad tier not driving as much revenue in short term. That's crazy, right? I feel like that was something that I think, would have done great for Netflix, and it's just not. So maybe I don't know if people are canceling but Netflix took a huge load off yesterday, right? Literally tanked yesterday based off of that news. So Netflix right now kind of floundering, but they've been chopping over the course of the last few months, really within that same range of like what 410. Yeah, like 410 to roughly 455, right? So Netflix been chopping around, floundering a bit. Um, but yeah, what else do we get? France ordering Apple to stop iPhone 12 sales over high radiation. I think that is important as well as we go into the day here. Apple is a stock that's in a susceptible spot, right? It's in a vulnerable spot, um, considering the fact that it has the potential to fire a daily bear flag if we lose 173.54 on the daily on Apple. So watch that level. We could bounce there and put it in a double bottom, but if we close beneath that by the end of the day, right, Apple puts look good to swing based off the fact that Apple is not holding that daily support. And if this is something that France does, right, they're not doing it without reason. It can spread to other countries, and you don't know. You might end up having to have an iPhone 12 recall, lawsuits, etc. So definitely something to look out for, right? But other than that, and I'd say for Apple to maybe mark off that pre-market high, right? What is that? 175.19. Mark that bad boy off. Create alert for a peak above and fail possibility, right? And look for Apple puts to day trade those from there down to pre-market low, using tomorrow's dated contracts if that ends up being the case. So with that, I'll wrap us up and take us out for today's pre-market prep session. Right, there are 4 in the chat if you got something positive, if you learned something, if you shifted the dynamic, if you did something for yourself going into today's market day. I'm excited for the day as the offer. Not going to force anything, but if it provides good opportunities, I'm for darn sure going to take advantage. We had a good number of wins yesterday, like 4 or 5 wins. Just outright bringing the bacon home, which you can't look down on, and looking to have another great day. So everybody, make sure you strive to get 1% better. Have an amazing day, and we'll be back here tomorrow for our last pre-market prep session of the week. Have a good one, people.